I have quite a few testimonies. Some are from families and friends.
Lord.
I'll start with a friend's testimony. Last year, I remember a friend and I were talking, well, she was doing the talking. She was talking about a lot of companies, and she would always talk about applying, and at that stage, I was not really interested in applying. And then I remember when I started applying, I came with my testimony. And then she then started, and then I wrote to her at the end of the year that please do apply again because she was rejected. I was like, no, please try and apply again. She applied in certain companies, and in the conversations we were having, I would take which company she likes the most, because she would always talk about that company. She'd always talk about they have two training streams in that company, and she would always talk about the financial services part of the stream of that company. And then when she applied for two other companies which rejected her, she had applied for that company last year, but it didn't reply. In May, she writes me a message that she got an email saying if she's still interested in the position, they would like to call her for an interview. So she asked me to please pray with her, and we did an agreement. We were praying at 9, and I also sent through her prayer request to the intercession night. That was after her first interview. After her second interview, after the first interview, she told me that she's called for the second interview. And then as she went for the second interview, I remember one night after the second interview, I had a dream and we were talking, and it was like she had gotten a position somewhere else, and I was like, but how are you going to go and do your training contract at that company that you're applying for if you have a position in that place? And at the time there was a lot happening in my mind, so I'm like, were we having a conversation when I was telling you this, and she was like, no, maybe God is telling you that I got the job. So we waited again for 2 weeks, and she was becoming impatient. And I was like, be patient, you'll get the job, you'll get the response. So she has gotten her training contract for CA with BDO for 2024. And this testimony, it really reminded me of my testimony with my training contract, and it shows that God looks at our heart desires, because with the company she got her training contract is the company she was always interested in, and the company I got my training contract is the company that I was always interested in, because I remember when I was working in Mall of Africa, if there were people who would come from the company because they would have that thing that goes around your neck with them, and I would be like, so how do you apply? How do you do this? How do you do this? And I would not apply at the time. But as one day we were sitting with my family, I remember saying to my mom, one day I will work in that building, because we were sitting in Mall of Africa facing the building, and God placed me in the company that I wanted to work in. Same with her, it's the company she has always been talking about.
Hallelujah.
And the second testimony, my sister, who's doing her 4th year at Wits nursing, they had an opportunity to go for clinicals in a pillow pepper train to Northwest and Mpumalanga. So in the beginning of the year, she asked if we could pray about that. They were supposed to write a test. I remember I contacted Deaconess Lorado, and we spoke about it and we prayed about it. And then later on, I also sent that prayer request to the intercession prayer request, and I remember I testified to Pastor about it, saying that she had gotten the opportunity to go to the clinicals and they had not written the tests. A few days later, she gets a WhatsApp from her lecturer saying that she might not go. I'm like, I can't, I've already testified You can't tell me you can't go. Me, I've already told people that you are going. And then she was like, no, they said her hours were less than someone else. And she was like, but please pray. And I'm like, okay, we're going to continue praying. And I was starting to have doubts. I would lie. And then I did tell Pastor that, no, this is happening. They're saying that her hours are less. And there were other things that were also, that she was also hearing about this opportunity. And I remember her saying to me, I think I'm going to forfeit this one. And I'm like, no, you're not forfeiting it. You are going, we've prayed, you're going to that, to those clinicals. And then I took her phone, and because she didn't know what to say, I took her phone, I wrote a message for her, and then I made her read it, and then she sent it. And then after that, they went to have a meeting about it with the lecturer to clarify their hours, and she came back with the same testimony that she's going for the clinicals, and she went for the clinicals for 3 weeks in May. She came back very happy. It was a great experience that she had.
Glory to Jesus.
Hallelujah.
The third one. One of my prayers for my family, it was my brother. We have been praying for my brother to change his ways, to be interested in, and to also be to also do something in life. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, he started a small business, and then I remember how excited he was that day when he was starting the business. He asked for support. He's like, support black business, and we also supported the business and bought from him. And he came back that day, and he's like, the second day, and he's like, no, we're starting to make profit. Then she's like to me, please do pray about it. And we also thank God that now it's not us who's forcing him to look for a job, but he's the one who is willing to look for a job. It is only God that could do that, because no amount of talking could work. The last
Jesus!
Last year, at work I was going through the most. I remember I wanted to resign. It was bad, and every time I didn't know what to do and what next week would come with. And I would get encouragement from the members in the church. And I remember Brother Lunko saying to me, don't pack, because he knew that at some point I would really resign. He's like, stay on, don't pack. And I stayed on. Last month, a few months ago rather, they told us that our store might close because if we don't reach a certain target, and we were now scared of that. I remember contacting also Deaconess Lorado and Pastor, and I remember their prayers were that that on the days I work that we make good turnover, and the prayers did work, because the way the store picked up in the last couple of months. Last month we got a congratulation message from the managers that the store has picked up and it is growing. Even with new competition in the center, we are still growing. And in that month of the growth, everything now, everyone, I mean, in the company is like, what's happening in Rosebank? Because the store has picked up in a way we also are not understanding. We're now getting home tired from working because we've picked up a lot of customers, and we thank God for that. I thank God for sustaining that.